This is Kite Cutter TV with another presentation. We gotta talk about this. Happy New Year, guys. Happy 2021. Glad that everybody made it nice and safe. Keep your faith in God, trust in Jesus only, and let's get 2021 better than 2020. All right, we got a few stories to get into today. We got more than 200 Cuban migrants stormed the U.S. border demanding entry because they thought that the borders were open now that apparently Biden might be going into office the end of this month. We'll see how that goes. Trump is still putting in work to try and change that, but we'll see. And we got a few more topics to get into. We got undocumented immigrants getting licenses, driver's licenses, or driver privilege cards. And then we also have Democrat Jon Ossoff promises illegal aliens amnesty at Latin meet and greet. And this is exactly why you're going to see more migrant caravans coming, because people like Joe Biden and Democrat leaders are always promising amnesty for illegal aliens and incentives for these people to cross the border illegally. Check this out.
My name is Loco. I'm another dreamer from Mexico. I love this country as much as my motherland, like Mexico. And I would like to see more dreamers make their dreams come true. What do you think about immigration law for Latinos? You know, Latinos are growing up, and a lot of Latinos, they go for the next level, like open new businesses and help the community, and making a huge impact on the economic, especially here in Maria. So I would love to see more immigration laws for Latinos.
Thank you so much for the question. And I will stand with you and all dreamers, all DACA recipients, because dreamers are every bit as American as any of us. And I'll have you back in the U.S. Senate. And I will work to pass comprehensive immigration reform that establishes a path to legal status for those who lack documentation and otherwise follow the law. We have to have secure borders in this country, but border security does not mean border brutality. We should reject this false choice. Yes, any country must know and control who enters and exits our territory. The idea that we are ripping babies from their mothers is a disgrace. My business investigates war crimes. If that happened in a war zone, it's a war crime.
Okay, so you heard him, ripping babies from mothers. No, do you know who's actually ripping babies from mothers? Planned Parenthood and Democrat policies, okay? So I'm sick and tired of hearing all these excuses. Check this out.
Hundreds and hundreds of Cubans rushed the U.S.-Mexico border late last night, demanding that they be allowed into the United States. The group staged a protest in Ciudad Juarez on the Paso del Norte bridge, which connects the Mexican city with El Paso, Texas. U.S. authorities closed off the bridge with a concrete barrier after protesters piled on the bridge and began climbing up the sides of the bridge. Officials played a recording on a loudspeaker that said if anyone crossed the border illegally, they would be arrested. The protesters said they were prepared to stay on the bridge until they were let into the country. Many of the Cubans who had previously crossed the border illegally were sent back to Mexico under the Remain in Mexico policy enacted by President Donald Trump, which states they must wait out their court proceedings in Mexico. One protester said, quote, "We're fed up waiting," and added that the group had formed at the bridge after they heard the U.S. was about to open up its borders.
Travel bans, restricting the asylum and refugee systems, family separations, pushing to abolish DACA. These are some of President Donald Trump's immigration policies. The president-elect Joe Biden has promised to reverse. Analysts say the incoming president will likely issue executive orders to overturn these policies.
All of the things that President Trump did unilaterally, they can do unilaterally as well, or they can undo unilaterally. So, for example, the travel ban, I would expect to be vacated almost immediately. The refugee cap, I think, will be changed immediately. That's something that's clearly in the president's power to do.
President Trump's efforts to end DACA with the deferred action for childhood arrivals sparked large protests during his 4 years in office. Immigrants are welcome here. The Obama-era program shields from deportation people brought illegally to the United States as minors. Trump said the program amounts to illegal amnesty, but promised to help DACA recipients if Congress acted.
I have a love for these people, and hopefully now Congress will be able to help them and do it properly.
But Congress did not act. and DACA's fate became embroiled in the courts. The most recent court ruling on the issue orders U.S. immigration agencies to fully reinstate the DACA program. But DACA opponents vow to keep challenging it in court. And untangling other immigration guidelines will take time.
But in terms of unwinding the asylum policies of the Trump administration, that's going to be a deep and complicated affair.
As part of his pledge to control the border with Mexico and stop illegal immigration, Trump created the Migrant Protection Protocol, also known as MPP. The MPP requires migrants to stay in Mexican border cities while waiting for their immigration court hearings in the United States. Experts say undoing that and reinstating asylum protections will be the most difficult.
I think they're probably going to slow walk that issue. Certainly early on in the administration, they'll stop enrolling new people in MPP or remain in Mexico.
Proponents of President Trump's immigration policies say the changes were needed.
What the Trump administration tried to do is get back to original intent, congressional intent, when Congress set up many of these programs. And I think that is overall the focus that the administration had in making many of the changes.
As for the refugee program, which under the Trump administration, admissions reached a record low, Biden has pledged to raise the refugee cap to 125,000. But analysts say much work lies ahead.
In many cases, the agencies responsible for refugee resettlement have been decimated. The people who are working there are now working on other issues, right? A lot of people have left those jobs because we haven't been welcoming refugees for a long time. So we need to rebuild these agencies and make them stronger and better than they were before.
Still, experts say immigration likely will not top Biden's to-do list because of the raging coronavirus pandemic that continues to batter the U.S. economy and take American lives. Alina Barrows, VOA News, Washington.
With the new year comes a number of new laws. One of them is significant for the undocumented community. Starting tomorrow, they'll have a chance to get a driver privilege card. Adriana de Alba talked to several people who are undocumented about what this means to them.
This year, hitting the road will have a whole new meaning for Virginia drivers who are undocumented. A new law will let them get a driver privilege card. 18-year-old Karen Pichardo lives on the Eastern Shore. For her, this new law means peace of mind when she drives to school and work.
What was your biggest concern driving without a license?
I was scared that if somebody hit me or something, they have to get the police involved. And then even though it would be their fault, I would still get a ticket for driving without a license.
Other people who are undocumented, like Elvia Silva, feel the relief too. We'll feel more secure now. Before, just seeing a police car and not knowing if they'd stop me or not was terrifying. Now I won't feel so afraid. In order to get the driver privilege card, applicants need to prove their identity and history of paying taxes. They need to pass driving tests and have a clear driving record. The card cannot be used to board planes or vote. Those who support the bill say it'll make roads safer, and those against it say the cards could help immigrants falsely pass for American citizens.
We pay taxes. We've been here for 12, 13 years, and it feels like we don't belong here. It's basically like we're citizens without any rights.
Several advocacy groups are helping those who want to apply. And by the way, they might have to wait a while to get those cards. We've told you before the DMV is experiencing some delays because of the pandemic. A spokesperson for the DMV tells me they're working closely with lawmakers to expand customer service sites and meet that demand. Adriana de Alba, 13 News Now.
Will the push to oust Newsom prove to be successful? Let's ask the woman who was part of the Golden State's 2003 Governor Gray Davis recall, Tammy Bruce. Tammy, Happy New Year to you. Thanks for joining us.
Same to you. My pleasure. Great way to start the new year.
It is indeed, and I think this is a story that's really going to gain steam. Now, since 1911, I believe it is, 55 times Californians have tried to recall their governor, but only once was it successful. You were a part of it in 2003 in recalling Governor Davis. Of course, we got Arnold Schwarzenegger out of it. What do you see in parallels between then and now?
Well, that was a real populist effort. It was obviously thousands of people involved in organizing. But the similar thing is, of course, the people of the Southwest, the people of the west of this country, really still are revolutionaries. We all are at heart, right? It's in our DNA. But I think that what Californians, while all Americans are generally, of course, tolerant, we're quiet people, is that what they don't like is unfairness. They don't like being lied to. None of us do. And that's what Gavin Newsom did. That's what Greg Davis was doing to the state as well. Also, negative impact on the economy. So this is really a nonpartisan issue. So I think that they can have success. I certainly hope they do. Schwarzenegger was not a success. So my only warning is when you do this recall is make sure that there's a lot of thought put into who it is that's being encouraged to run. There were over 60 people, by the way, Griff, who ran for governor on the same ballot as the recall in 2003. It was a fabulous experience. It was a nonpartisan race. And we know that the process worked well. But I think that this is a warning to everyone. It's the economy, the handling of COVID, the corruption, this lobbyist guy. Californians don't like it, and I think they'll be successful.
And it's fascinating. In 2003, of course, Davis was dealing with an energy crisis. His failures there led to the recall. Now we have Newsom and his failures in handling COVID-19. How close, though, is this to actually succeeding, Tammy? Because we know you need 1.5 million signatures. They've got a little over 800,000.
That's right.
We just saw our first Irvine-based consulting firm give $500,000 to this effort. How likely is it to succeed?
Well, the campaign itself has noted on social media that a lot of that money that we've heard, these big donations, which are good, are not in cash somehow. And they need paid circulators. That's what our experience was in 2003. The populist base, the grassroots base is great in distributing, but you need an organized, paid circulator framework. Money is needed. This can be done, but they don't want people to think that that big news about this great support it makes it done. It's not done. We have to start. They have until March. That's not a lot of time. We've got to get this done. It is the very least that Americans can pull off, and we've done it before. And so keep that in mind. But they can do it. They need to get past the 1.5 million, of course, because some of those signatures won't be good. And they realize that. But it certainly is a doable framework.
And Tammy, just in the time we've got, about 30 seconds left, how important is it raising questions about the governor's ties to this lobbyist Kinney that he was at his 50th birthday party at the French Laundry? Yeah.
Well, you know, I equate corruption with being like a bag of potato chips. You don't do it just once, right? You keep going. In this case, it's like a pile of trash. You don't dig through the trash to find the sweet-smelling roses. There's more underneath. He lied when he ran for office about the death penalty, as an example. He's been a failure at governing. And now you've got a guy who's been with him for at least 14 years, who ghostwrites his speeches, who was a part of this French Laundry dinner and a part of so much more. The question is, and the concern is, that Gavin Newsom is doing things that benefit that lobbyist and those interests as opposed to benefiting the people of California. And how do you know? Because the people of California are in dire straits, and Gavin Newsom and his friends are not.
Tammy Bruce kicking off 2021 with a great line. It's so true. You can't just eat one potato chip. Thanks, Tammy.
That's right.
Thanks for watching. Like, share, and subscribe. Till next time, God bless. Peace.